Dance, Latin, country, pop, rock and roll, all in one station, mixing genres and generations. You're listening to KNLY, New Waverly, Texas, 91.1 FM, The Boss.
The program presented are submitted by members of our community and are a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect those of KNLY 91.1 FM and its affiliates.
Good morning, and God bless you. We're having a motivational Monday here at KNLY 91.1 The Boss, and of course, I'm your host, Orlando Daniels, and I'm always excited about the guests that God allows us to bring on this platform and share their business and all that God has them doing. And this morning, I have the pleasure of having Miss Kelly Britton on with Always Best Care Senior Services. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Orlando. Thank you for having me.
Now, introduce yourself just a little bit, and then we're going to get right into talking about your businesses and all the things that motivates and pushes you to do what you do.
Sure. So my name is Kelly Britton. I'm the owner of Always Best Care Senior Services. It is a franchise. We've been open a little over 5 years here. My background is that I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist.
Okay.
And so I've been working in the healthcare field for over 20 years, working with seniors.
Okay.
And so this was a natural progression for me to be able to help seniors age in place at home.
You know, I'm always not only captivated, but really inspired by business owners and people who get over into certain areas of business and entrepreneurship and learning what motivates them, what becomes their passion or their drive. So what made you decide that you wanted to not only become a franchisee in regards to Always Best Care, but the overall feel of caring for a loved one?
Yeah, so, basically my history in working in the healthcare industry, I was a consultant for skilled nursing facilities, which a lot of people around here called SNFs or long-term care facilities, also known as nursing homes.
Okay.
And, the care at nursing homes doesn't tend to be as, high level as, you might expect for your loved one. And so I was frustrated with the care when I was working there. And then, of course, my own family experiences. My grandmother did have Alzheimer's. And so, I was able to work with her and help her, through that process and in the aging process. My father was actually the longest living heart transplant in the United States.
Wow.
Upon his death in 2010. And so he was one of those, people that did not want to go to a nursing home. He wanted to be able to age in place. And so I certainly understand what families are going through when they have a loved one, that they want to honor their wishes. And if they want to stay home, we work together as a family to make that happen. We have several nurses in our family, and so, we just work together as a team to make that happen. So I certainly understand what family members are going through when they say, hey, mom or dad wants to stay home. How can we make that happen?
When I think about, our seniors and oftentimes when we consider senior care placement, some of the misconceptions about that process is that it comes with age, and I'm learning a little bit more in not only partnering up with you, but building a rapport and a relationship, that I'm able to understand a little bit more that there's so many dynamics that comes into it that many people have the misconception. You got to be of a certain age that you still need this care, and that's not the case. You made mention of your grandmother having Alzheimer's, right? Correct?
Yes.
Your mother or your grandmother?
My grandmother.
Okay. And in that being the case, we were out this weekend for the Alzheimer's Walk. So can you expound a little bit in reference to some of the different types of dementia and Alzheimer's, and what made you decide to get involved other than your grandmother?
Yeah, so Always Best Care has been a national sponsor for the Walk to End Alzheimer's here in the Woodlands. For the past 5 or 6 years, I've been involved with that. And it's just a great way to bring community awareness
Okay.
To the community, so we can see how Alzheimer's and various dementias affect people in our community. So, I'm a big supporter of getting out there, raising money, raising awareness so that we can find a cure one day. And, there are multiple types of dementia that can be kind of categorized into the Alzheimer's category. There's multiple different times. There's vascular dementia, sometimes they call senile dementia, just age-related dementia, just getting forgetful as you age. There can be Parkinson's-related dementia, and then, of course, like Lewy bodies, there's some more different, unusual types of dementia as well. And they all have various, obstacles, and some of them are very early onset, which is very surprising, too. You could have people in their early 50s developing Alzheimer's or Alzheimer's-like symptoms. So it's kind of a broad, category, dementia in general. There's so many different facets that go into it. So there's so much research needed still to be able to help find a cure.
I have walked into a room, and just totally forgot, why I went in there for, what I went in there for. Hanging out with you and building this relationship, I know your passion, and people who don't know you don't understand why you're so passionate, so compassionate. But here's something that I think our audience needs to hear, is that you literally got out of your bed, being sick this weekend, to attend this event. I think the highlight for me was seeing all the people there, but also seeing the seniors walking and participating, and
Right.
caregivers there, and pushing wheelchairs and being supportive. What else is always best care? What all the other services do you all provide?
So we like to at least bring awareness to maybe some of the signs of Alzheimer's. So memory loss that really disrupts kind of everyday life. Like you said, sometimes you'll walk into a room and forget what you're doing. That's kind of normal for age related, but if you're walking in there and you can't remember, anything at all, then those are kind of some warning signs. Maybe you're having challenges in just solving normal day-to-day problems that, hey, I forget, how to use the remote, but then it comes back to you once you fiddle with it. Sometimes, you may not even know what the remote's for, at some point. So those are some warning signs with that. Difficulty completing familiar tasks. So a lot of times people with Alzheimer's may remember some of the details, but they may not know the sequencing. So they may not remember that, okay, first we put the laundry in, then we put the detergent in, then we start it. They may remember some of those, but they don't remember what order they go in. So a lot of those types of things are what are some warning signs that you might be looking for. And so what we can do is come in and help with them for safety. They need someone there to help them with those day-to-day, what we call activities of daily living. How you and I get up in the morning and put our pants on one leg at a time, they may forget how to do that, what order that goes in, how to brush their teeth. So we're there to help them, kind of guide them along the way. They can still do it a lot of times with that, what we call verbal cueing, that guidance. So we're helping them, hey, let's get this done, let's come alongside them. Let's say maybe they used to love to cook, but they don't, remember how to do things, or they may leave the burner on. So we can get in there side by side with them in the kitchen. Here, let's get this chopped up, and they can do those small tasks, with that assistance. So what we do is we just really provide that supervision, that one-on-one, where we get to know them. We get to know and like and trust and help them anticipate what their needs are. We build a relationship so they feel a little bit more comfortable, allowing us to help them with things like in the bathroom or in the shower. So those are so important to build that trust with them, and to be able to help them age in place wherever they call home.
I tell people often, we were all created with other people in mind. I just believe that God created every person with other people in mind. We are called to solve problems.
Absolutely.
And so you're definitely solving a problem. I'm going to be a little transparent. My grandmother, as well as my aunt, at this current moment, we believe that there's some Alzheimer's, some dementia, some things that are transpiring. My parents are actually caregivers, or caring for them, and it's a lot. It is a lot. My father is retired, but it's a lot on him. He's ready to just really enjoy being retired. And then also my biological mother's deceased, and so God blessed me with Mom Betty, is what we call her, but she's Mama.
Yeah.
And she gets up early in the morning, maybe about 4, I think,
Wow.
and go to work. And she still governs taking care of grandmama and aunt, and it's a lot. And I think people need to know, because you made mention on Saturday, some of the signs, especially coming up on the holidays, that's when, you get an opportunity to really start paying attention to. And I think a lot of people need to know a little bit more in reference to what are some of those little things that people need to be attentive to when it comes to their loved ones.
Right, that's a great point, because with the holidays coming up, you're going to be around a lot more of your family members for a lot longer than you normally are. So it's a great time to kind of pick up on some of these what we call the top 10 signs to know, to look for with Alzheimer's, and we've kind of been talking about some of those. But maybe, one of them could be new problems with words or finding words or speaking. Every now and then we forget a word, I forget what I'm talking about. But, they may not even be able to remember familiar words that they've normally worked with. So these are types of things, hugging them, touching them. You're going to feel if they've lost some weight, if they normally are dressed, a specific way and have their makeup on, and now they don't really care as much. These are all signs of personality changes, mood changes, things that you can pick up on. Decreased in judgment. So if they pull up to, grandma's house and their car has a bunch of dings and the side mirrors knocked off, and those are some signs that, hey, this person may be having some decreased judgment, and maybe shouldn't be driving. So it's time to have that conversation. Confusion to time and place. You and I might think, okay, what day is it? Is it Monday? They may not even remember what year it is. They may not even remember who's the president right now. So these are some big warning signs that you want to be looking for, around the holidays. Okay. Just conversations with them.
You have some other things, because you're very active in the community. You're big on networking, and we have several relationships outside of what we do together. You have an event coming up tomorrow morning, am I correct?
I do. We're actually going to be at a beautiful community. It's the Village of the Woodlands on the Waterway. It's just right down the street here at 3232 Lake Robbins Drive, and we're going to be having a networking breakfast. So we would invite everybody to come out and have breakfast with us there, and I'm going to be speaking on a little bit more of local senior care resources that are available in our community. So it's going to be a great opportunity for those family caregivers that you've talked about. It's hard to be a family caregiver. You need those resources to give you a break, what we call a little respite break in your life, to be able to know what's available in the community so you can get plugged into that and get some help. And so we're going to be at the Village, and we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. And then after the talk, stick around, take a tour, meet some of the great people at the Village. They offer independent living, memory care, and assisted living at that community.
Well, you have actually built relationships, and many times people don't understand the importance of relationships. We get in business and it becomes the goal to establish the business, but for you are hands-on. You literally tour the facilities. You look for the best place to place the loved one, and then also providing that type of care and service in people's homes who can't get placed. And
right.
So I love that you go the extra mile. When you consider placing someone in a facility, what are some of the things that you look for?
That's a great question, and that's why it's so important. And you mentioned earlier that, every care is so multifaceted. There's so many different dynamics that go into everything. So one company or one place is not always the best fit for everybody. That's why we like to have variety. And so that's what I do is I like to go out and look for communities that have just, whatever makes them special. Every community has something that sets them apart. And so that may be a good fit for a specific client down the road. So when I'm going and touring, I'm looking for places, number one, that are, clean, well-ran, by people that know what they're doing, as far as compliance with state regulations and making sure that they're running a safe facility. I'm looking for activities. I'm looking for the engagement of the staff that work there. How long has the staff worked there? That's always a great sign to look for. Okay. If they've been there a long time, that's a good sign that community is, keeping their staff happy, which that's going to help keep those residents happy there. So, looking for different activities or amenities. Some, are out in the country. Some have have a pond for fishing. Some have animals that live on site. They may have a house pet or a house dog. And so all of those things we take into consideration when we sit with a family that no longer can maybe afford care at home or can stay at home and they're looking for a senior community. We sit down with them and we say, okay, what's your budget? Number one, what's your desired location? What area do you want to be in? What are some things they enjoy doing? Because that helped us kind of narrow down and narrow it down to a few communities for them to be able to choose. And then we go on some tours. We go with them. We go help them look and see what to look for, what to ask. We have them taste the food there. So all of these things go into helping them make that decision, and it's ultimately their decision to be able to make that.
You heard it here from Ms. Kelly that you can't get no better service. I assure you, someone that's hands-on, someone that is involved, and someone that loves your family member as you would. I want you to give them information because you have 2 locations, but I want you to give them Facebook, Instagram, phone number, how to get in contact with you so that they can experience this wonderful service that you provide.
So we're Always Best Care, the Woodlands on Facebook, and we're at ABC The Woodlands on Instagram. Our office number is 832-585-1941. We have an office located over behind Old Town Spring on Aldine Westfield, 26029 Aldine Westfield Road, Suite 206. And we also have an office inside of the village at 2323 Lake Robbins Drive. So, those are some places that you can find us. One thing about us is we come to you. So if you have any questions, we're happy to talk to you over the phone, schedule a free in-home assessment where we come out to wherever you call home and we talk about what's the needs, what prompted you to call today, what can we help you with, what are you struggling with, and then we begin to be a problem solver. We try to come up and put together a plan. We call that an individual service plan, and it's a living, breathing document, and it changes as your loved one's care needs change. And so that's how we design and put together the plan that works, and it could be anything from 1 hour a day to 24 hours a day. We send caregivers 365 days a year, so you've got that support when you need it. And so we grow with you as the care changes, then we can change with you.
Well, you have it here, Ms. Kelly Britton of Always Best Care Senior Services. I'm your host, Orlando Daniels of Today's Entrepreneur, and we are signing off on a Monday morning. You all make it a great day. Be blessed.